Hi, Bill Vales here for another edition of Your Backyard. I'm here today with my special guest, Julie Kazmarczyk, my sister. Thanks for being here with us.
Always great to be here in New England.
I thought that we could do all this in one show. Just not possible. Just not possible. So here we are on another show. And the idea that we're trying to instill to the viewing audience is you don't need to go to any formal hiking trail, conservation area to experience nature. You can go out in your backyard.
Absolutely.
And that's where we are here. We're in my backyard, Carol's backyard, and we're looking at different things. And well, as we're near the little tributary to Beaver Brook, which is dry this year, it's really almost like a vernal pool. You know, some years it'll run year round, and other years it dries up. But we noticed that there's a lot of ferns around here, and something I just wanted to make note of was that we have here two distinct species of ferns, and they're pretty nicely separated in terms of color.
They're beautiful.
They really are. One of these, and I'm not sure which, but one of them is a cinnamon fern. And you know what these might be? These might be small ostrich ferns.
I like ferns. I don't know ferns.
These might be ostrich ferns. They have that wispy look. And we have an example up by the house of different species. But you can see here the coloring of this species is different. Now the leaf they're alternated. Is that right? Yeah.
Yes, they are.
They're alternated, meaning they're not one
symmetrical.
Symmetric. Okay. One is offset. So they're alternating. So that's a hint. And off this main shaft here, you see there's different. I think these are called pinnates. Pinnate, each of these. Okay. And this is different. This, I believe, is an ostrich fern. Has that wispy.
A lot of times you can see the spores underneath.
They show themselves as brown.
Yeah, maybe the wrong time of year.
And that's one way that they multiply. I think another way they multiply too is through rhizome extension, where these have, if you were to dig one up, I won't dig it up, but you'd see that there's leaders, if you will, going out. They're called rhizomes, and those can make another fern. So
flashbacks to biology.
Different thing. So let's walk on, and as we walk on, I want to call people's attention to the boulder field here. Really gets impressive.
Yeah, it is.
We're also going to see an animal trail, which it doesn't surprise me because we do get a lot of deer in the yard here, and it looks like they have a preferred path, and we're going to follow that path into the boulder field and look at a couple more bird boxes and then some old stone walls.
Sounds great.
Okay. Well, we found our animal path here, and Julie and I are going to walk down that into more of the boulder field. You can really see the boulders extending to the south. So this is south, north. It's just loaded with boulders. But I noticed down here a feather.
Sorry, I noticed it first, I believe.
You did notice it first. Now, you have a license, so you can pick it up.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Well, you could pick it up. You just couldn't take it home.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I'm going to pick this up, and it actually looks like two feathers.
Okay. It looks.
What do you think it is?
I'm going with tufted titmouse, which would be the egg that we found in the box in our first segment today.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep, they're in perfect condition, and there's no reason to do anything but just leave them on the forest floor.
Okay. So.
There are some birds that might pick up a feather to weave it into their nest, or. Yep.
Now, would those have been lost through a molt or?
Possibly. They're in great shape, so they, don't look like a feather that's in need of molting.
Right.
The bird could have been entangled in something.
Yeah.
And
attacked.
Yep. Vigorous preening, or just cleaning itself.
What's that sound?
I'm hearing chickadees, and actually there's a black-capped chickadee right behind us in the pine. I've heard a lot of squeaks, which sound like birds, but they're actually squirrels or chipmunks. Make a lot of funny noises.
Okay, well, we're going to walk down the animal trail, and let's go.
Let's do it.
Well, we're sitting here on one of the larger boulders that we have on the property. There's actually several that are this size, and we don't know how big they are below because it's kind of like an iceberg. But these are substantial in size. And the thing I love about this rock is, one, it's a rock, and two, it's covered with beautiful shades of green. Okay, there's all different shades of green on this, and some of these greens are what's called lichen, L-I-C-H-E-N, and we have some lichen here, which is kind of gray in color. There's some green lichen.
The lichen being a combination of algae and fungus, kind of the start of the forest, so to speak.
That's right, and considered one of the older or oldest organisms in the animal or plant kingdom. And when we say old, I mean I've read reports of lichens going back billions of years.
Oh, sure.
So the lichen, they have a symbiotic relationship between the algae and the fungus or the bacteria.
Fungus, yeah.
Fungus. They have a symbiotic relationship, and
which is a good thing. It means they're working together.
They're working together.
They're liking it.
They're liking it.
They're liking it.
They're liking it. I like that. They're liking it.
They're liking it.
Okay. That's really pretty good.
Thanks.
Okay. And people would know green's one of my favorite colors, so this certainly adds to my enjoyment of the forest. Now, Carol's always looking at the lichen that's on our oak trees. You see them on there?
Yes.
And she wants to take it off. And don't.
Leave it.
It's healthy.
Yes.
It's good. And it's pretty. Now, in addition to the lichen, we also have moss.
Right.
And moss is different. Moss is a plant. And if we look at moss under a microscope, or not even a microscope, but just maybe some 10-power magnification, you'll see a branch and leaf structure on it. So we have the combination on these rocks, which are some form of gneiss, or gneiss, I should say, granitic gneiss. We have a bed of moss and lichen, and it's really a pretty nice place just to hang out.
It's beautiful.
So looking behind us, you can see the boulder field extend on.
And the moss is on every side of the boulder, not just the north side.
That's right. Yeah, it's all the way around. It's all the way around.
So don't use that as a orienteering tip.
No, it can't be a take it to the bank orienteering
No,
step.
not at all.
A lot of times like here we are south, facing south, but it's shaded,
Correct.
right? So you have moss on the south side.
Right.
Okay, so
The
can't
sun
take
might
it
be
to
a
the
little
bank.
more reliable.
Right. Yeah, the sun is a better orienteering step. Okay, so let's walk over to some old stone walls.
Okay.
Well, here we are walking down near some stone walls, and we ran into some
Dust bowls.
dust bowls. Interesting. And explain what these are.
Yeah, very easy to overlook something like this when you're walking through the woods, or you could see it just in your lawn. Birds will take a dust bath, and what they do, usually songbirds, but larger birds also, will just hunker down in the dirt or sand and just kind of shimmy all around to get parasites off, other bugs, to clean themselves. And they can really kick up a load of dust, and hence the name Dust Bowl.
Interesting. We've seen turkeys in our yard. Every now and again we'll get a lot of turkeys, and then we don't see them for a while. And we have seen the turkeys cleaning themselves that way, and it's pretty impressive how much dust they kick up. That's interesting because frankly, I've never really thought about that. I've always thought about it in terms of the footprint. But then when I look at the space between the prints, animals tend to have a consistent gait.
Right.
Right? So
Yes.
they're not going to walk one step this big and one step that big.
No.
So that's a very good clue.
Yep.
So this is really nice in here, isn't it?
Yeah,
Nice
I
cool breeze.
spent time down here last fall. The leaves were just spectacular.
Yep.
That's when had great looks at the hermit thrush. White-throated sparrows were in, yellow rump warblers, Canada geese flying over. Yeah, just very.
We have some maples here. Actually, there's no maple. I'm not aware of any maple on that side of the property, but there's maple here. Some hickory here. The property used to have a lot of white ash, and like most of white ash in the area, it's succumbed to emerald ash borer and
Yeah, we have that.
and other diseases and bugs. But other species do fill those niches.
They do.
So,
Yep.
but this is the colors in here in the fall.
Oh,
are
yeah.
great.
We don't see a lot of maples in our part of Virginia, so coming here to New England anytime is a treat, but in the fall it is just, it lights up in here.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
And you can see we have some old stone walls here.
Yeah.
And Scratch Flat has been an area historically, farm, and that's been chronicled for several centuries, both through folklore accounts, but also factual accounts. You can check the record through the Historic Society, and of course a lot of the fields are bounded by stone walls because you see all these boulders in this boulder field. If you were farming a field, it had a lot of boulders in them, so you tend to put those boulders on the perimeter of your land. So
And more habitat for different species of probably mostly mammals, but reptiles and
we see fox in here prancing across the field, and coyote. I know from talking to neighbors, farmers, they regularly see bobcat, and they don't. I mean, I enjoy seeing a bobcat. They don't like seeing a bobcat because of, you know, what it does to their wildlife. But there is a lot of wildlife around here, and you know, we're not talking a big area
No,
here.
this is
You know,
2+ acres.
Yeah, about 2.5 acres. So this is not a super large area, and we have a good diversity of wildlife, a good diversity of tree species, plant species. So we're going to walk down to the corner of the property and look at the remnants of some old farming. Okay, let's go down there. Okay, we're down the other corner of the property here, and you can see the stone wall extending along the farmer's field now and then coming back towards the house. And you'll notice that this stone wall has 2 very large cornerstones.
Yep.
Here. Okay. And I believe that this was a entranceway for a farmer's vehicle, whatever, you know, tractor, wagons, whatever. And this depression over here, of which we've always been tempted to excavate, not in the sense of really dig it up, but more go in there with the, you know, a sifting and, to see what was in there, because it looks a little like it might have been a dump or a garage, you know, something like that, where the vehicles came through and parked.
Substantially lower.
Substantially lower. Yeah, substantially lower. Now the trees in there don't look all that old. 40 years.
Oh yeah.
50 years.
There's some saplings.
Really not that old. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. So we have a little cultural history on this property, as well as history of the you know, the flora, fauna, and geology.
Just wondering what happened years ago, hundreds of years ago. Absolutely.
You do. You notice down here we have this barbed wire.
Oh wow.
You know,
I didn't see that.
there's a pile of barbed wire that I just kept. I think most people would have thrown this away.
I know somebody who wouldn't.
But I know that barbed wire was constructed different ways in different periods of time. And I've never looked up when this was. But whenever I feel like I have the need to, I have some samples here that I can draw from.
This wall extends a good distance.
It does, yeah. This corner of the property extends.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, several hundred feet. So, how many bird species do you think you've seen at your home in Virginia? Now, I'm counting both what's on the property, overhead and overhead.
That is truly about the only list I'm faithful to keeping. I'm not a big bird lister. I'm more into just the experience and the banding, but I do keep a yard list, and we have 125 species of
125
birds.
species.
And we are on a quarter acre, incredibly residential, not far from the James and the Appomattox rivers.
Yep.
You cannot see them from our house, but we have flyovers of osprey, bald eagles, numbers of gulls, lots of warblers passing through. So yeah, I mean, that's...
Yeah. I don't actually keep a list for the house other than in my head. I think I started a list and have lost a list and restarted it and lost it again. I could probably construct from my memory most of the birds, but I don't know if I'd be inclined to throw in a few extras. I do know that I would add fish crow.
Yes,
now,
we keep hearing them. Yep.
All the time. And I'm curious on that hawk that we saw earlier in the day that at first you think red tail
Right.
when you're around here, but that wasn't a red tail.
Right.
It showed, flashes of white on each wing.
And then we heard a whistle when we were over at the Lichen moss boulder, which possibly could be a broadwing, but we'll have to,
Yeah.
put all those different
Things together.
attributes together and see what it is.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this has been great. I'm glad you've been able to come up and do this. I thought we were going to do one show. No, I never believed we were going to do one show. I knew it would be more. I'd really like to sometime do a show of your bird banding. Actually bring our show on the road.
That'd be great.
And watch the whole bird banding process, which is really fascinating and exhausting. I've done banding once on Martha's Vineyard, and it's boy, when you open those nets, you're moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we welcome visitors, especially children. But the nets don't just appear. There's so much preparation.
Yeah.
Between permission and clearing net lanes, yet not impacting the environment that much, and getting volunteers, and the nets don't just appear.
Yeah.
And you're up either before sunrise, and travel a fair distance sometimes, and then if it's owls, you start it just after sunset, and you may be pulling in the driveway at sunrise. So
Just in time for work.
That's right. That's right.
Great. Well,
And maybe you can visit my backyard.
I would love to visit your backyard. I hope that these couple of shows have shown you, the audience, of what's available in your backyard. You need, as Julie mentioned, you need to get out. It's good to look at books and TV for reference, but to really see what's out there, you have to get out there. And it's really incredible what's out there.
Oh, yeah.
Some people could take 1 square meter and do a thesis on it.
Absolutely. Yes, I know some of those people.
Yeah, there's that much. So we hope you enjoyed this show. I really enjoyed doing it. I hope you did.
I did. Thanks for having me.
Great.